Brandon for BrandonCarterTv11.com. I just want to know, who is Ivy Lee?
Ivy Lee is an author, a mother, entrepreneur, a people person, loves to help people, love children. She's greedy.
You are an author. You have wrote 3 published books. Can you tell me about them?
Okay, the first book I wrote was Juicy Deception. That was this. That's part 1 of the series. It's a Cleveland-based book I wrote when I was working in Garden Valley projects. So I was kind of influenced by the area I was in, and and people that was around me that I knew that lived certain lifestyles. And I recently just released part 2 to it last September. The conclusion, because it was in high demand. Everybody kept asking. Part 1 made #1 under Black authors on Amazon for almost a year. So I just did part 2. And then I wrote Supreme Reigns for Cleveland's own Preem. It's a book that's based off of his image and pieces of his life, and kind of created a story around that and around his music.
How did you go about getting your work published?
I self-published under CreateSpace. I sent it to thousands of publishers, and they would all tell me that the book wasn't going to go anywhere, wasn't a fit for the world, quote unquote, which is funny because it made #1. But whatever, we won't tell anybody. So I started going to different self-publishing companies, and they were charging like an arm and a leg. They wanted like $2,000 for 1 book, and they weren't even going to put it together for me. I mean, for 100 books. 100 books, and they weren't going to put it together for me. They just wanted money for everything. I would reach out to different authors, asking for advice. They wanted $20 just to tell me certain things. Wow. So I started researching, and Amazon came out with this company called CreateSpace. At the time, they had just started, and it was called Print on Demand. So you kind of like worked around your budget. So if I had $100 that I saved towards my book, I was able to put that into it, and I was able to go from there. So
what inspired you to write these stories?
Just different things, different energy. Just like I could be sitting around somebody and get a vibe from them, and then I could just be ready to write. So it's just, at that time I was working in Garden Valley projects, so I had the energy of working in an urban area. So I just saw a story in my head, and I dreamed it. Like every night I would dream a chapter, and I would get up and write.
With all you went through to get your book published, what did it feel like to finally see, a hard copy version?
It felt so unreal. Like when the hard copy came and I opened it up and I looked at it, I was like, wow, I did that, because I have ADHD. So I could start something and then I'm like, oh, look, cookies. And I'm over here doing that. So I forget that I was doing something. So to finish it, it was like, wow, I did that. It was a big accomplishment for me.
Can you tell me about the time, like the work that you put into writing these books when you break it down? What do you set aside time?
Sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, if I feel the need for a story, I will stop whatever I'm doing that's important, and so I can get it out, just get the thoughts out, because if I don't get them out, I'll forget it later. So it was times I was at work and the kids were on their cots, because I was still working for Head Start. Before I started working for myself, I was working for Head Start daycare. And so they would get on their cots, and I'm sitting there writing the whole time. And then I'm passing the chapter to one of my good friends. She passed away. Her name's in the books, Delise. I would pass it to her, like, what you think? And she'd tell me, oh, I need another chapter, I need another chapter. So it was like I would just be anywhere with my computer just writing.
What was some of the difficulties you faced trying to get this story done, but also being a mom and then being a working mother while trying to do what you truly loved on the side, fitting that into your already hectic life?
Loss of friendships. People who said they believed in me would start complaining I didn't have enough time for them. They're like, oh, I believe you can do it. Then it was like, oh, you're putting all your time into that, because all my extra time will go to my children. If I wasn't working on my book or something else, and at the time I was in school too, so if I wasn't working on my book and doing papers, I was giving that time to my children. So it was like, oh, you're not paying me any attention. And I remember a couple times, I think I lost my book about 3 times. The computer would just shut down out of nowhere. And I would have it on auto save, but it would never save. And then one time a surge came through the house and only hit my computer. So I lost my book. So I've written my books probably about 2 or 3 times before it was actually published. And it's very frustrating because you just wrote 10 chapters. And it's like, how many words? Oh my God.